our first show here in the Strike Zone in 2018, and it is a special day today. It is National Dress Your Pet Day. Right? We all know who is pumped about today.
Yeah, I saw a few Instagram posts from the one and only Big Unit. The Unit, Kyle Reinhardt, and Rizzo all dressed up together, both as Santa Claus. They went to the mall and took pictures together, so...
We all know Tim dressed up as Cat as well. I saw that.
Yeah, Tim has a few feral cats that run around the compound, so I'm sure he had them dressed as the Three Musketeers, and he took his BB gun out and practiced.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad that Kyle had a great holiday. This is one of his favorite holidays, so shout out to you, Kyle. We're going to get right into it.
We're going to get right into it. We are post-draft. It was a good one. It was exciting. It was interesting. I think it lived up to the hype that we all thought it would. So yeah, we're gonna get right into kind of what happened that night. We had a great time bowling. I believe Matt came out with the win bowling. I think it was Matt and Sam. So I mean, that's clam, you know.
I guess that is clam.
That was pretty clam.
The draft was definitely one for the books. I'm glad that everyone remembered it. Cough, cough, Tim kept his self-control with the bar situation.
Yes, we all remembered it. So that was good. So we're going to get right into a little recap of the draft. I'm going to go ahead and do the first couple teams, just go straight into it, say who they drafted, and then Brett will close out those last couple teams. So with Tim, the first pick in the draft with the Truckers, he took Jack Hilligans. Later, last pick of the second round, he went with Neil Kruzwick. Right after that, taking Grant Reinhardt. So that team's looking like Tim, Jack, Neil, and Grant with about $3 left of cap. So next was the Sultans and Robbie Zanstra, who took Lucas Miedema with his first pick. Later in the draft, took John Anningenberg. And to end it out, he took Micah Hescott, who was happily there to accept that. And I believe they got a little picture there, so that was nice. Third pick in the draft was the Liners. And in a shock, he took James Hayworth in that pick. Later taking Justin Deckinga, the one and only. And to close it out, he took probably the best pick in the draft in Sam Grumala, as Kyle Reinhardt said it. Narwhals went in, and Greg took Jeremiah Wilcher, a former Bomber. Shout out to Jeremiah. Later in that draft, who went on to take Kyle Jansma. And to end it out, he took Robert Warren. So yeah, that was first four, and then the last one I'll give to you guys was the Clams and Matt Dykstra, who took Austin Gibson, who, gladly enough, had his own clam hat.
Very festive.
Very festive. I loved it. Had his own clam hat. Then he took Andrew Sitter in the second round. And in the third round, took the legend herself, Lauren Ashby.
What a pick. She was there, too.
She
there.
was happily there and was very accepting of that pick.
All right, so next team to choose was the Sliders, Jordan Moselle. He went with John Gibson. Very good pick. Later on, took PNW's very own Quinn Claglesi.
It's not PNW.
And then
he works for Bishop Knoll.
Bishop Knoll's very own Quinn Claglesi. And then rounded it out with Brad Campstra. Next were your very own me, the Bombers. I went with Colin Lautenbach, hoping to three-peat. And then the third time that I've done this, I picked Jake Van Buren. And lastly, Aaron Barnes, who is a maybe for showing up this year, but we're going to take a chance on him. After me, it was the Hawaiians. Austin Warner took Sam Stahl with his first pick. Mind you, he was gone on a cruise. I don't know how many islands he hit, but it had to be 15. Every island was a different pick for him. So Shane Anderson was the second pick, and then John Newcomb was his third pick.
To round it out, and he is from PNW. So if you
John Newcomb is PNW's
So
very
there
own.
you go.
My apologies. Next were the Badgers. Jared Yonkman. He went with Wes Ellis. A steal. I'm just going to say that. A steal. Jeremy Ross. And then Eric Van Laren. So, few new names. I don't think Eric Van Laren's coming again. That was Matt's old roommate, I think.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
Who it is.
yeah, he's not coming again.
No
He lives in
idea.
Iowa.
He's got a nice name though. I like his name.
He's got a cool name. And then the guy sitting next to me, the Sluggers, he drafted with his first pick. He took Garrett Lytle. And then his second pick was surprise Wiz, Zachary Wisniewski. And then took Kyle Reinhout, and some trades that same night ended him up with Luke Prince instead of Kyle Reinhout. Last team was the Dusters. They went with Alex Friedman to start, and then Elijah Richardson and Griffin Smith.
Well, that went where he took Alex Friedman. Second pick he took Luke Prince, and then last pick he took Evan Sylvester. And due to the trades that went on between the Hawaiians, the Dusters, and the Sluggers, he ended up with, as Brett said, Elijah Richardson and Griffin Smith. So that's a little recap of what happened draft night.
We wanted to give you that. I know it took a little bit of took a little time, but if you weren't at the draft or haven't been covered on what happened in the draft, now as we talk about this, you know the teams.
Yeah. So now we're gonna head right into our PTI style of Leroy Wiffle Ball here. This podcast is the Strike Zone. We're looking at a best draft day performance. We're looking at an owner's perspective, where they were sitting in the draft. Brett, who do you say had the best draft day performance?
Let me see these teams again. I mean, I'm not trying to be biased at all, but Eric's team is scary to me. I know that he sees potential in players. If I had to say one team that drafted very well and after the trades happened, it would have to be the Sluggers. We can talk about good first-round picks, good third-round picks. I think Jared had a really good pick with Wes. I don't think he expected him to be there at all. But when that did happen, he was very eager to take him. If I had to go with another team that did pretty well, I guess it'd have to be the Clams. I mean, I know I was looking at taking Austin. I know his potential. And Matt was a little bit early. He was 2 picks earlier than me. Texted Austin in the morning and said, hey, if you're there, I'm getting you. So I'm glad that they can team up. Those are 2 teams that scare me right now.
Yeah, looking at where they were sitting and looking at salary and all that stuff, I have to hand it over to Caleb and how he did. Taking James was obviously the smartest choice there, and I don't think that shocked many people. But I feel like what he's doing with the rest of his team, he's looking at Justin Deckina to be his worst player, and then he's looking at almost $25 for another player. And with the free agents that are coming, he did a very nice job in this draft, just being able to give himself the best opportunity with the salary he had and the position he was in. I know he wanted to be later in the draft. Another team that I think did really well, like you said, was the Clams, getting Austin and then Sitter. I think that was really good. And then, yeah, the Bombers. I mean, getting Colin that late, I think, was huge for you. And then being able to get Jake as well. I think a lot of people saw Jake as a steal in the draft, and you ended up getting him. Depending on what you can do with Aaron Barnes and the salary there, I think that's a scary team. So my best draft day performance is going to go to the Clams. How about you? What is your best draft day performance?
Best draft day performance. So it'd have to be between the Liners, like you said, with what they did and the cap that they have left when they dropped Sam. But I'm still going to give it to Eric because it was technically draft day when that trade went through. And after it all being said and done, that's my team right now. I don't want to act biased, but can't lie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with where my team ended up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I'll say on that. Heading into the next one, we're looking at worst draft day performance. Looking at the teams where they were same thing, where they were placed, the salary they had. Who had the worst draft day performance? Would you say?
If I'm gonna just take a quick look over these teams and see, the one that sticks out to me the most would be the Narwhals. Taking Jeremiah. Jeremiah is a solid player, but knowing that Greg could have drafted Wes instead of Jeremiah, I don't know what exactly was going through his mind at that time. I'm not going to say that he had the worst draft day performance, but that just sticks out to me. Another one that I don't really understand would be Marty. Alex, again, solid hitter, iffy pitcher, and it's been proven that pitching is going to win you games, and I don't think that's going to change this season. So he didn't have a lot of cap to work with. I know that because he's a really good player himself. But those are two teams that stick out. Yeah, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree with you with Marty. Nothing against Alex Friedman. I think he's a hell of a player. He really led the Otters to the semifinal. But other than that, other than Friedman, Marty just didn't make any other moves that impressed me. And with that last pick, I think he just could have done so much better with what was sitting there. And then to leave yourself with such little amount of cap space that I just don't think Marty did what he had to do. The other one that I think when you talk about draft performance, I think Jordan Moselle really struggled. I mean, he luckily got John Gibson to just fall into his lap at the sixth pick. And other than that, I mean, Quinn Clagesi and Brad Campshaw are just not a great 3-4 that you want. So, I mean, if you're looking at, like, salary you had, I mean, he had a lot of salary to work with, and I just don't think he did the best with it. One other team that they're not the worst draft day performance was Austin Warner. He wasn't there, so, I mean, it was tough for him, but I feel like he could have done a little bit better with the salary that he had and how much salary he did have to use. But I mean, with my worst draft day performance, I'm gonna have to go with the Dusters. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go with my first pick, the Narwhals. I think Greg could have done a lot better because of his low salary and the fact that he could have taken a guy that was a lot higher up in the mock drafts. That's going to be my worst.
All right. Looking into the next one, we're looking at death bracket teams. Who is death bracket bound? Try saying that a couple times fast. Jeez.
I don't even want
to. Death bracket bound teams. To start it off, yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to go with the Narwhals. As we saw last year, the Ovens had three of the best players we've seen in this league, with Jack, Kyle Jansma, and Matt Dykstra. And to see them go out in the first round to our free agent team was a big worry for me. And now to see Greg with being led by Kyle Jansma again, I think is a good thing for him, but Kyle Jansma won't be there every week. And I think that's going to be a huge struggle for the Narwhals. They're going to continue to get free agents every week. And I think that's really going to hurt them a lot. I think Jeremiah Wilcher can only do so much for this team. He's not the greatest hitter. He's got a good pitch, but he can only do so much for this team. And I just don't think with Robert and Greg at the bottom of that those top two guys can do enough.
Yeah, I think Greg's going to have to go out of his way to lead this team when Kyle's not there. Kyle being there, just being present on your team, already brings that sense of leadership. Like you look to him to see what to do when you don't know what to do.
He's the dad of the league.
Yeah,
he's the dad of the league.
He's the dad. He's the jefe. So
I think Narwhals are definitely in my death bracket teams, and then I see the Hawaiians down there. They just don't have enough hitting. It's decent pitching and below average hitting. I just don't think it'll be enough to go up against some of the powers in this league, like Wes Ellis and Jared Youngman, or Ewan Collin, or even Caleb by himself. I think could single-handedly take down some of these teams, and I think Hawaiians are one of them. So after that, I think the 4 teams I see in the death bracket are going to be the Narwhals, the Hawaiians, the Sliders, and the Dusters. Yeah, those are my 4 death bracket teams.
Okay, you being my brother and me and you playing together so much, I would pick those exact 4 same teams. I don't want to do that for the podcast, so I'm just going to pick a 5th team. Let's say that the Narwhals surprise both of us and prove us totally wrong.
And that could happen with Kyle Jansen coming more than that would change the team a lot.
That easily could.
Yeah.
Easily. I don't know. Oh, gosh. The Truckers might be a team that I see down there.
Not a chance.
If not the Truckers, then maybe the Badgers.
That's terrible.
They're both middle-of-the-road teams for me.
I can't agree with that. I can agree with the Truckers being a middle-of-the-road team, but I don't see the. There's not a chance the Badgers fall into the death bracket. That's absurd.
I guess.
They got too much power there. Too much power there. The only reason I can see that happening is if Jared starts screwing up all of his stat sheets or whatever, and he can't even play because he only has 3 players. So
yeah, whatever. Those are my 4 and 5.
Yeah, so going into the next one, we'll just kind of go with the little trend here. Final 4 teams. Kind of just who are the best teams we're seeing in this post-draft. Who's going to the semis? Who's going there?
Who's going to the semifinals?
Top 4 teams. You can just spit them out. You don't even have to talk if you want.
All right, hey.
You can just spit out 4 teams.
I'm going to spit out 4 teams randomly.
And
I'm going to say if all these players can consistently come, I'm going to say the Sultans,
right.
Top 4. I'm going to say the Sluggers. Going to go with the Clams, definitely. And I guess I'd have to take the Bombers because I already basically talked crap about the Truckers and the Badgers and all the other teams.
Yeah.
So those are my 4.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to disagree with you on the Sultans.
Nice, dude.
Yeah. Robbie and Lucas are going to be a good. Lucas is going to be a great player this year. He's going to be a great player. And I think Robbie will be up there as well, but I don't know. There's just not enough experience on that team that I just don't see them making a postseason run. I think a team that's getting overlooked here is the Liners, to be honest. I think Caleb is the LeBron James of this league, and he can take anyone to a championship.
Okay, but listen, okay, he pitches 2 times a game.
Yeah.
And James didn't prove himself to be a dominant pitcher. You have a guy on every single one of these teams that could take James' yard on 5 balls.
I think James will be a below 3 ERA player this year.
No way.
And I think
no way.
With Caleb's leadership, yes, he will. I think Caleb will pick up someone that is a very good player for under $24. $24 in salary is a lot. I think he'll pick up a very good player, and I honestly think he can make a very deep run and come playoff time.
I'd give you sub 5 here.
No, he'll be a sub 3 ERA player.
That's tough.
I
That's a
really
stretch.
think he will, and I think Caleb, if he can get Justin Deckinga to come each week, I think he could make him into a average player in this league, and that's all Caleb needs.
I mean, yeah, you have to. I want to say this before we go into our other segments. You have to think about we have players this year coming from Griffle Ball, potentially more players coming from Orwell. Those players aren't going to be used to our pitching. So people that even have pitched maybe half a season are going to have that little step above them. So
Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from with James. He did pitch last year. He has the arm slot. I don't know if he has the arm speed that he really needs to like power it past the guy. But if he can be consistent and strike out those new guys that come and that will get picked up by teams, that may be a game changer.
And I mean, that just leads it straight into our next one. This league Caleb versus Leroy? Is it Caleb versus Leroy? And who do you see being able to take down Caleb this year potentially?
Okay, so
this league has been Caleb's league for the past 3 years, really.
yeah, it's been Caleb's league since it started. He's a competitor. He's the best at a lot of things that he does. Is it Caleb versus Leroy? I don't know exactly what that question means. If we're talking about MVP race, there are a few guys that I see that could potentially take him down.
Mm-hmm.
Marty being my top guy.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that.
Marty is a really, really good player on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Jack can pitch this year, he has a chance.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't hit like Caleb. I mean,
Yeah.
I can pitch with Caleb. I really try to. You can pitch with Caleb, but me and you can't hit like Caleb.
No.
So that's something that I'm going to be working on. I'm sure it's something that you're going to be working on because if I can end up hitting way better than I did, that's going to help my team out a lot. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would agree with those two players. Marty and Jack are definitely people that have abilities that could possibly take down Caleb. But honestly, I don't see it happening. I really don't. I see him. I see him maybe coming in around 5th or 4th during the season when it comes to a record standpoint, and going into the playoffs, I see him really taking over and being able to lead his team as he always has.
I don't think he'll make it to the championship.
I think he could. As of right now, no, he's not making the championship. But
And is he going to put himself in the same spot for next year?
right,
Is like that. That's a segment that we didn't even think of putting down here. I'm sure we can talk about that on our next podcast. But if you really think about it, in the back of his mind, is he going to strive for another 70 salary season?
I don't think it is within him to not go 110%.
I know
in a
that's
season.
just Caleb,
I
and
just-
that's what I love about him.
Yeah.
Um,
And I mean, he's a hell of a competitor, a hell of a player, and I mean, you just look at these salaries, and it's just like this dude just wiped us all.
so, final question: is it Caleb versus Leroy? I would say yes.
Yeah, I think we're all chasing Caleb.
We're all striving for Caleb.
I think we are. And are you gonna look at that to kind of finish this little segment out? Are you gonna look at that as, oh, I want to get a better statistical season than Caleb, or are you gonna look at it as, hey, I'm just gonna go out there and I'm gonna beat Caleb every time we play him, and even if he has 6 home runs in that game, my team is gonna be better than his team.
That's what I want to do.
Right.
So from a personal statistical standpoint, I don't think anybody's going to be better than him, but you can say that about any MLB team too. Like, okay,
Giancarlo Stanton,
like Aaron Judge is like by far one of the greatest players in the league right now.
Yeah.
Is his team going to win the championship every year? No.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that kind of segment right there, winning versus statistics, it kind of leads right into an argument that has been going on in Leroy for a good amount of time now, and that is what was brought up in the Hall of Fame voting. which was when I made a small scene about me losing to Kyle Jansma, and kind of what made me upset about that. And before we get into this, I want to kind of clear things up. I never said, first off, I never said that championships determine better players. I never said that. And if Kyle, if you're listening to this, anything that Tim has told you is probably false because he just likes to stir the pot.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll go into this segment right now. Jansma versus Detmar. Kind of going back at the fireside chat and kind of rebuttaling it, and kind of giving our thoughts on it. So first I'll let you have it, and then I'll give what I thought of it.
Well, first off, I enjoyed listening to it because it definitely stirred the pot and it brings up a really good question in the league, but I didn't like how Tim and how people like Jordan Moselle and Greg painted what you said. It was so false. He started off by saying, well, you're the Robert Horry of the league because you coattail off people and you have so many championships, but your stats don't really match up to Kyle's. That's where I disagreed with the whole thing. And if we want to go stats versus stats, we can. I still think that you have the upper hand because your stats are very close to his, and then you have those 2 championships on top of yours. And well, you can talk about this, but the years of experience also skewed what they said because he has 4 years and you have 2.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it that Kyle's a better hitter than me. No doubt.
But you never said that you were better.
No, I never said I was a better hitter than him. I think this race is very close, and what made me so upset about it is that in the Hall of Fame voting, it wasn't close. I think me and Kyle are very, very, very close when it comes to who's the better player. I think he's a better leader than me for sure. When you're talking about a leadership standpoint, but when you're talking about a winning mentality, I'm gonna have to go with myself. Just because if you look at the resumes, I mean, I got to disagree with what Greg said. When you look at blind resume, you're looking at a 44-17 record or a guy that went 33-36. Blind resume, that's going to have to go with the better record. And then you look at batting average. He's got a 411. I got a 365. I mean, not too far away. But yeah, and then moving back the mound was a big thing too, where his ERA dropped off and mine kind of stayed the same. I think it got a tiny bit worse. Maybe.
It got a tiny bit worse.
Tiny bit worse, but
because you had didn't you have under a 1 ERA last season?
Yeah.
After the season?
Yeah.
And as I see here, your ERA last season was 1.2.
But I mean, yeah. When you look at like the award standpoints, he's got 4 All-Star selections. I have 2. Well, he's played 4 seasons. I've played 2. He's got 3 All-Ironman teams, and I have 1. So that means each of us have missed 1 year of our years of playing.
Yeah.
So I mean, like you look at this, and we're head to head. I have 2 all pitching, and he has none. But he has 3 all batting, and I have none. Like we're right there. Like it's hard for me to even say that I'm like, oh, I'm a better player than Kyle Jansma, but I just think the way it was handled by Tim.
They painted it as you were saying you were the better player than him because you have these championships. No, you are.
As they said, I felt a little bit disrespected just by the Hall of Fame voting.
Yeah, and I would feel the same way, honestly,
right.
Because thinking about how close it was, and you can even say that you're not as good of a player as him, but when it comes down to it, those 2 championships make your legacy better than his right now. If we're talking right now.
And just from what I do outside the league,
yeah,
and the dedication I put into this league, and how much it means to me, you know.
But this was never a conversation to say, oh, Kyle Jansma is not a good player, or
no,
he's like not a good guy. Like he's one of my favorite guys in the league.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I'm so glad that I met him.
For sure.
So
that kind of goes over that section. I just clear that up, give my input on it.
Yeah.
Hear it straight from me.
Last thing I want to say is nobody, the whole coattailing thing, nobody really saw me and your interactions like on the ride home or anything. Like, yeah, I was probably the face of the team, but if you're thinking about like a movie like Moneyball, and you have those guys in the press box talking about who they want to take, these guys that nobody really knows of that have low salaries, that was you for me. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't the one who said take Jeremiah in 2016.
Yeah,
I really
know.
wasn't the one who pulled the trigger on Colin in last year and Neil. I gave you ideas, but you were the one who said, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And that's why you...
And I know Tim's just trying to stir the pot there or whatever.
No, it's a good pot to stir.
But yeah, I'm excited for kind of the rivalry it may have started between me and Kyle. I hope it's not a heated rivalry. I hope it's a...
You guys are both adults. No feelings are hurt. It's
No,
football.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what that does overall. Heading into the next one, we're looking at the best early matchups. Looking into the season, looking at the teams we have now. Those, what would you say are the best early matchups? I know we gotta pull up the schedule here.
But there are certain matchups that are just going to happen no matter what that I can pull out. So, like, I don't know. If I want to talk about two teams that I think are going to be fun to, like, watch play, maybe a team like the Hawaiians versus the Truckers. You have like older guys that are super fun.
I was gonna say
like
that.
Neil. You have Neil, and Tim.
It's Neil, Tim, and
Austin and Sam.
And they have Kyle Reinhardt now.
Yeah, Kyle Reinhardt.
They have Kyle Reinhardt now.
Forgot about that.
So
those are all friends playing against each other.
That'll be like the back when the Wonders, or was it the Wonder? It was Kyle Jansma's team with Jordan Moselle and Kyle Reinhardt and Neil Kruzwick.
No, they weren't the one-hit wonders.
No, they were the.
That was Grant's team. Grant was the one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
I forgot what their team name was called. Anyway.
That was a fun team, though. And we're going to kind of see that again when the Truckers play the Hawaiians.
Yeah.
So that'll be a fun matchup. And then another, Badgers, Liners, or Bombers, Sluggers, either one. If you're looking at it, the brotherly matchup is gonna be a good one. Now we got three brotherly matchups when we look at John and Austin as well.
Yeah.
So
because they're off the same team now too. 3
brotherly matchups going on. A lot of cousin matchups going on. The Dutch community. Yeah. So those will be some good matchups we see. Any other ones you got? Any other good matchups you see?
So yeah, I'm excited to play you week 2. I think we're all just excited to see how Caleb runs his team, so I'm excited to play them. If I can name a team that I'm like kind of scared about playing, that I haven't really mentioned, I don't know. I'm excited to. I'm gonna go with the Sultans again because facing Robbie and Lucas.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. I like that matchup too.
Is going to be fun against me because we kind of have like similar teams.
Yeah.
With like a Micah and Aaron, and you have Jake Van Buren and John, who are both question marks, kind of. And then you have 2 pretty good players on each team. Me and Colin.
The Sultans, for me, that's 2 guys that I brought into the league on the same team versus me and Luke Prince. We all kind of know each other. Me, Micah, John, Luke Prince, we all kind of know each other. So that'll be a good matchup too. Kind of similar to the old guy matchup that we were talking about earlier. Then we got the young guy matchups. So, best early matchups, that's what we were looking at.
And the Truckers and the Sultans play week 1. Let's see if any of the ones that we said actually play week 1. You play the Badgers. Clams and Narwhals. That's just 2 teams that I can't wait to play each other because of their names and just because of their owners.
Yeah, true.
Greg versus Matt.
It's on Harambe.
Yeah, typical.
Late night game on Harambe.
That'll be a fun week 1 matchup to watch.
That'll be a good one.
If you're looking over at the other teams. So
Yeah, now we move into looking at overrated and underrated players in the league. You can kind of look at this as like who was drafted too early, who was drafted too late, or just overall who are some players in the league that you feel are underrated or overrated.
Well, if I'm gonna say who was drafted too late, John Gibson
Yeah,
and Wes Ellis.
yeah,
Way too late.
yeah.
Um,
No doubt.
according to the mock draft, that's like super late.
Yeah.
Um,
I had them going, I think,
two,
two
three.
and 2 and 4, not 3 because of
not
Caleb,
3,
but
yeah.
technically, yeah, 2-3.
Technically 2-3.
And they end up going 6-9.
Yeah.
Come on.
If
That's
I'm
bad.
looking at somebody who is underrated in this draft, I would be happy to be Tim right now, sitting with Neil as my second pick.
Yeah.
Because he knew that he was going to get screwed over with the last pick in the second round.
Like
That's a good hitter
you
right
look
there.
at you look at people that were drafted before him. Quinn Clagessi. Like I just don't see him being anywhere near as good as Neil, in my opinion.
No, because Neil has more experience.
And experience is huge.
It
Experience is huge in this league. You know, we saw a very talented Bashers team. I think they were more talented than we were, to be honest.
Easily.
I think they were more. They had Wes, they had Lucas, and
And Marty.
and Marty. You see 3 very good players go out, and I feel like kind of being their first playoff run. That was big. That was big.
Yeah, and the fact that we had Neil and that he pitched, he did what he had to do.
Yeah.
So, was I looking to pick him up again? Yeah, I was.
You look at the championship matchup, and you look at it, you say there's a lot of guys in there that have been in this league for a long time. I think like the only one you'd say was Luke Prince. The rest of them were guys that had been in the league for a while. Jeremiah Wilcher, Jared
Collins played a little bit.
Collins played a little bit. Me and you.
Neil's been here
Sam,
since the start.
Like
Yeah.
those are all guys that have played for a long time.
And those guys are easy to talk to when you're trying to get them on track. Like,
Yeah.
hey, this is a championship game. Like, you know it. And I know the Orbital guys, that they have the same thing that go on in their league. So, I mean, but when I know a player, and I've known Colin forever, it was like, hey, do you want to come practice at my house? It was way easier to do that than trying to get somebody like maybe Shane to come all the way down and practice.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was kind of off topic from overrated and underrated, but
Yeah, if I just say an overrated player, in this draft,
I don't know. I'm gonna go out and say I was surprised Lucas got taken so early.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Because he's a good player, but is he second pick a player? Whatever that I'm trying to say.
Yeah, if we're looking at the draft, I think that was a little high for Lucas.
But Robbie might be onto something.
He could, and I think Lucas could definitely show himself this year.
He could surprise people, like by a lot.
Another, I think overrated in this draft was Jeremy Ross. I'm gonna have to go. I know he's shown a lot of interest in. In the league and kind of showing that he's been working on it, but I just don't see him being a high second round pick. So.
Yeah, I would agree. And it might be a case of like where the salaries were at the time, but I agree with you on that one. Last one, I've been talking to Eric about this because I really didn't understand the pick when he first told me about it, but Zach Wisniewski got picked up as Eric's second round pick. He has faith. I'm still a little bit iffy, but hey, he could. I have to say right now, I'll just call him an underrated player because then I can't have you talk crap to me if he does great.
Oh, so you're being a bitch.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying.
If you think he's overrated, then
say
it was an overrated pick. If you think that.
You said that I can't go against anything that you say until you're wrong about something like that. So if week 1, 2, and 3 come around and he sucks, then
I'm gonna get a lot of shit for it.
Yeah, from a lot of people.
Yeah, I
But
understand that.
You haven't been wrong yet, so
I,
he's an underrated player. I'm not going to call him an overrated player. He can hit well. He got second in the home run derby. When those new guys come and they throw 5 balls,
I mean,
he's going to be scary.
If I'm going to be honest about it, I think he went way too early. However, how I was looking at it was there's going to be a lot of guys coming, and I need to get a good fourth player. And I knew that Zach Wisniewski was not going to be there when the second to last pick in this draft came. And I really wanted him for the salary that he was.
And you got so lucky that you got Luke.
Yeah, because Luke was actually the guy that I wanted. Looking at that pick at first, I wanted Luke. But and then I ended up getting him through trades, which was crazy. And by the way, Greg, I don't know where you got collusion from. But I listened to Going Corn. I don't know where collusion came from.
There was no collusion, actually. I had a bunch of guys over after the draft, and Eric's just sitting there on his phone, and he shows me his phone. He gets one trade, so then he does that trade, which was, Kyle Reinhart for
Elijah Richardson, I believe?
Yeah, Elijah Richardson. So he was like, sure, I'll do that.
Or maybe it was John New. It could have been John Newcomb.
Yeah, and then the next one came, the same night?
Yeah.
I left home, and I came back home, and you were like, oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Marty came to me.
I had picked up Elijah Richardson, and then I traded him for Luke Prince. So, yeah, no collusion went on there.
No collusion at all.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think in the draft, Zach Wisniewski was an overrated player in the draft. But I was just looking at it a little bit differently. So, I don't know.
You basically flipped your third and second, and then your third round, if you want to say it right, like technically your third round pick was Luke. That's a crazy. I mean, we're gonna go into that in 2 segments, but that's a crazy steal.
Yeah. So next one is, as my boy Dickie Vitale would say, the diaper dandies. It's madness, baby. It's madness. Who's the diaper dandy? All right, that was pretty bad, but yeah, the diaper dandies, the freshmen coming into the league. Who's gonna steal the show when it comes to the rookie of the year race?
Well, do we know exactly who?
I know
who didn't qualify last season? I mean, we don't know who's going to be coming from Griffle Ball. I mean, what do you want me to say that Jeremy Radijac's going to be rookie of the year? I mean, he might. I don't know.
I mean, I think Monco will be up there.
Monco's definitely a threat.
Monco will be a threat. And I know Warner's looking to get him, but Warner's also looking to get Radijak. So he's gonna have to choose between Monco and Radijak. But no, I think you can look at like
Monco's got a lot going on though. I don't know if he's gonna make it out. He's got a turtle and like a couple pets.
Yeah.
To walk.
He might not make it out. You're right.
He has to vacuum his room a lot too.
I mean, my diaper dandy is gonna be James Hayworth.
He didn't qualify last year?
I don't think he qualified last year.
Okay, did Austin? I don't think Austin did.
Austin probably didn't.
So mine's going to be Austin Gibson. I'm going to go with
That's true.
One of my best friends. You go out there and do you, boy. I was about to pick him up too, so I hope he does great.
Yeah, I mean, I know I talk crap about Jeremy Ross, but looking at the new guys that are coming in, I think he has a good chance to show himself within the rookies of the league.
Something just popped into my mind too that if Tim's going to listen to this, so it would be really cool to do like an all rookie team too. Yeah. So if you don't make rookie of the year, you could still make like an all rookie team, and then hopefully the next year like you could strive to like be on the all-star team or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So like team. 1 through 5.
I know the NBA does all rookie team. Yeah. Or with the all-star game, we could also do a rookie game. I know the NBA does that.
Yeah.
Just ideas thrown out there.
Like the freshman, is it like the freshman game or something?
Yeah, the freshman game. It's like elites versus stars or something like that. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Now we're kind of looking at, this was a question sent in by Austin Warner. Who is
now in the States.
Yeah, we believe he's in the States. We think he resurfaced. But yeah,
with the same name.
With the same name still. We're all good. Who is a third round steal? And we kind of added to this. Who do we think will be a first round bust? So who's gonna play unlike a third round pick and was picked in the third round? and who in the first round is not going to play like a first-round pick.
Okay.
So, I mean,
You go first.
so my third-round steal is going to have to be, not Grant Reinhout.
Yeah, definitely Grant.
Looking at the third round.
That's the first pick in the third round.
Looking at the picks in the third round, the Reinhouts are going to steal the show.
Definitely.
Like, there's no doubt about it.
So if you guys want to know really quick, I can name these names off. Grant Reinhout, Micah Hescott, Sam Grimala, Robert Warren, Lauren Ashby, Brad Campstra, Aaron Barnes, John Newcomb, Eric Van Laren, Kyle Reinhout, Evan Sylvester. So a few of them aren't going to come, but
a lot of them are going to come.
yeah, the Reinhouts are definitely going to steal the show there. Kyle and Grant.
Kyle and Grant are going to be the third round steals there, which would mean that the Hawaiians and the Truckers are looking good with their third round kind of picks. As I picked Kyle, but then the trade happened. So.
But technically your third round pick being Luke Prince would be the best for me. If you want to consider him your third round.
Yeah, but
if you want to consider Wiz your third round, then that's another steal. If what you say is true.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go to first round bus.
First round bus. So when we're looking at the first round, we're looking at Jack Hilligans, Lucas Miedema, James Howarth, Jeremiah Wilcher, my bad, Austin Gibson, John Gibson, Colin Lautenbach, Sam Stahl, Wes Ellis, Garrett Lytle, and Alex Friedman.
Oh boy.
So you got to kind of look at the way I look at this is, are there players in the second round that should have been in the first round for those later picks, or are there earlier picks that should have been late first round picks?
Yeah.
That's how I'm kind of going to look at the first round bust. And for me, it's going to have to be Jeremiah Wilcher. Nothing against him. He's just not a number 4 pick in this draft. And I think Greg really struggled on this one. There was Austin Gibson, John Gibson, Colin Lautenbach, Wes Ellis, Shane Anderson, all those guys he could have taken, and he passed up on it. I just think that was kind of a bust in my opinion.
Yeah, and then mine, I've already mentioned this. Lucas being the second overall pick in the draft, I think give him a year and he could do that.
No, I disagree. I don't think that's a bust.
It's not a bust, but if you're telling me which pick I don't see fits there, that doesn't fit for me. Seeing all those guys below him, that doesn't fit for me.
I mean,
you can consider that a bust if you want.
No, that's not a bust. You're wrong. Wrong, as Trump would say.
You're fake
wrong.
News, though.
You're wrong. Heading into the next one, mentioned this a little bit before. Influence of outside leagues coming into Leroy. So Griffle Ball, Orable, these leagues we got players coming from their leagues into our league and playing. How's that gonna shake things up when it comes to standings and players and all that stuff?
Well, I think the presence of a new league influence on Leroy this year, being Griffle Ball, is going to be huge. Those guys are hitters.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a pretty good idea of how they play. I know they play with a way different ball than ours, and they still hit the ball pretty far. They play with the ball that has all the holes in it, no, not one-sided. So those guys being hitters coming in and knowing that our league is basically dominated by pitchers, could that shake things up? Yeah, that could change the whole landscape of all the standings, all the teams, and even adding that one good hitter could change an entire team around.
And the league's coming in, Orable and Griffle Ball. As you said, Griffle Ball is a hitting league, and Orable definitely is.
Orable is more so.
More so a hitting league. So we're going to see so many great hitters come into our league. Could it completely change the way that Leroy has been going? Like, we've been going as a pitching league, and we're about to get a ton of good hitters. Could it change it where the best hitting team's going to win it this year? is there going to be enough good hitting to beat the good pitching?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really cool to see if that can happen.
I'm excited because obviously hitting is super fun. Like, everybody loves seeing a home run way more than a strikeout.
Yeah, I mean, that's why everyone loves
And that's why some people are discouraged with how the NWLA tournament goes, because you win off walks
Yeah.
and the pitchers just shine, and really, really, really good hitters don't even make it
Ryan
that far.
Bush.
Yeah, Ryan, but I mean, he had a bus tournament, but still,
Which he shouldn't. Which that's the problem.
Exactly.
He shouldn't have a bus tournament.
exactly.
He's way too good of a hitter to have a bus tournament.
No, I think
Hitting's just too powerful, or
I think-
pitching's just too powerful in that tournament.
No, you're right. There's going to be it would be really cool to see a huge transition. Do I still think that the best pitching team will win this year? Yes, because those guys that are coming in aren't going to be used to our pitching. But could 2-3 years down the road, could we see there be basically like a plateau of pitching, and then hitting
Continues to rise.
continues to rise and take over the pitching dominance? Yeah, there's a very good possibility, and I'm excited to see that, because that's a place where I need to do better at. I'm not that good of a hitter. When I come up to the plate, it's like, I don't know, mediocre, and I think a lot of people feel like they're in the same boat as me. They can pitch pretty well, but hitting is just where they struggle. So, yeah, it's something that I look forward to.
All right, and the last one is kind of just informational. The Shaw Friedman Wiffle Invitational, presented by Leroy Wiffle. This is a tournament that we got coming June 2nd, kind of showcasing Indiana wiffle ball in Leroy, and how our rules are played. I think it's gonna be cool. I think it's gonna be
It's
great.
going to be really fun. We're going to be about a month into our season. Hopefully, we can have some guys come out and maybe get encouraged to come back and play every week for us. I know that another informational piece is that June 1st, which is a Friday night, we're going to have like a social kind of thing go on. So we're going to pick the teams, because it's going to be 2 players from Leroy and then 2 players from the other leagues that are on each team. So you're going to get that leadership from the 2 Leroy guys, and then you're going to be also playing with like a friend from your league. So the teams are going to be set up pretty cool. Like, you can't make a dominant team with just all Leroy players. It's going to be, you're going to meet new faces, and that's all going to go on June 1st. So if you are interested in coming out, there's going to be more information coming with details on time and location and price, but mark those 2 dates down in your calendars.
If you want to know a little bit more about how the draft is going to work, go listen to Going Corn. Greg and Caleb explain it really well. That just came out today, the day we're recording this. So
yeah,
go check that out.
And then right along with that, it's just a question.
Yeah, just a question that we're throwing out there. A lot of stuff going on in Leroy. We've done a lot to the league since it's first came out. And it's kind of a question we were just talking about, like, is Leroy outdoing itself? Like, are we doing too much too quick?
Yeah, I'm not going to give any spoilers, because I know that there's a lot more that Tim and the visionary guys of the league have planned. But I just want to, I guess, bring to light the fact that companies and organizations that do well, they perfect a few things, and they do those things perfect.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get caught up, and I think we've talked about this last year too. I don't want to get caught up in doing these small things and work at them half-ass, and then they just phase out, and they never come to what they could have been. So I want to make sure that our podcast network is up and running and well, and like everyone is excited for new podcasts to come out, and our fields are looking nice, and then look into doing more stuff in the future. I don't think the tournament. I'm not asking this because of how quick this tournament came to.
I love the idea.
How it came together, but yeah, I think it's an easy way to get a lot of guys out, raise some money, and meet some new guys. So I'm not saying this because of the tournament idea, but it's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah. I mean, before we kind of wrap it up here, we got some questions from the audience. Sam Stahl asks, Squints or Bombers, who has the better record at the end of the season? It's not even a question. That's not even a question.
Hey, your team looks better right now, but I easily beat you.
Everyone knows the answer to that question. It's obvious.
All right, well, maybe I'll start a Twitter poll.
I will strike out Brett's team every time.
I will strike out your team every time.
Nah.
So what's your next rebuttal?
Garrett's a better pitcher than Colin.
That's not true.
Yeah,
dude.
Better pitcher than Colin? Yes, he is. Colin had like a 10 ERA, dude.
No, he didn't. Your ERA stats where are they coming from? Dude, he won us that championship. If he doesn't pitch like he does, we don't win. We already had
that one game, dude. He gave up, you know how many slow pitches he threw to the liners?
And we still won that whole thing.
That wasn't because of his pitching.
No, he came through when he had to pitching. And where are you getting Garrett's ear? Garrett wasn't a good pitcher either. Garrett can hit, yeah, you're right. But Colin can't.
I would rather have Garrett on the mound than Colin.
The only reason that you think you're going to be better than me is because of Luke. But I'm going to drop Aaron anyway. And you don't know how much cap
Luke's
I have.
my third best player. Luke is way better than Jake. Jake's going to pitch. Jake's going to give up 3 25-pitch home runs, and that's all we're going to need to win the game. That's all we're going to need.
I have faith in Jake. I put money on Jake this season.
I know you did.
I'm going to have him over practicing a lot.
That was pretty dumb on your part.
Yeah, you know what? We have like 3 minutes until this podcast is an hour long. So I'm just going to bring... This is our bet. Me and Grant right now. I said... Jake
no one cares about your bet.
We'll have a better ranking than
No one cares about your bet.
And we have $20 on it.
Dude, no one cares about your bet.
I think that it will bring incentive for those two players to...
No one cares about your bet. No one else in the league cares about your bet.
But guess what? They're roommates too. I just thought of that. So
no one cares about your bet.
Do you have any other questions?
Yes.
I have a better...
Moselle asked, was Kyle the snub of the draft? I think if you go listen to Going Corn, Caleb explains perfectly why Kyle Reinhart ended up being the second to last pick in the draft.
It's because of salary. We all had it.
It's because of salary, I think that is an issue that needs to be talked about within the board of our league on why players that are coming every week and maybe aren't as good but are still decent aren't getting drafted and aren't getting put on teams. I think it's a problem.
Well, maybe Kyle shouldn't have hit 6 home runs the game after I traded him away. Maybe his salary would be a little bit lower. But yes, every owner was sitting there looking at Kyle as he announced the teams, and we all knew that he was getting upset. But we all knew why. We all knew why we couldn't take him.
Yeah.
So it was sad, but I guess it was a snub, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, it definitely was.
So yes, Jordan, yes, it was. Is there any other questions?
We got any other questions here?
I'm easily gonna have a better record. If I don't have a better record, we beat you in the playoffs.
That's not true.
Well,
last question.
Only time will tell.
Last question here. If you have to have 4 other Leroy players in your starting basketball lineup, who would they be? Excluding current college basketball players. So, of course, Caleb Yonkman, he is a college basketball player, if none of you knew that. He is not allowed in this. And actually, Jared's not allowed in this either. So, the Yonkman brothers are out of this. Who you taking?
Wait, 4 other?
4 others. So, yourself and 4 other guys. Who you taking for your basketball roster?
Okay, well...
This question is from Austin Warner. We love you, Warner. Peace.
All right.
I mean, I could tell you my 4.
You can tell you your 4 right now?
Right now.
All right, I'll take John Gibson.
All right.
I'll take you. I'll take shoot.
Oh, dude, my team's gonna wipe you off. You can't take me. We're captains right now.
Oh, okay.
We're captains going against you.
Okay, so I take John Gibson. Then who do you take?
All right, you take John Gibson. Dude, I take Jack Hilligans. He will yak all over you guys.
All right, then I'll take...
Oh, my goodness. Wet.
I'll take... I think Robbie played. I'll take Robbie, too.
Okay, I take Luke Princeton, dude.
Oh, dude, that was a good pick.
Me, Jack, and Luke, dude, this game's over. This game's over.
No, dude, no.
Just wait. Just wait. You want to take another one? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm gonna take.
I'm ready for this.
I'm taking Austin Gibson.
Austin?
Yeah.
He'll
good.
probably like break his leg in the first quarter.
He might, but still, he's a good player.
All right.
Oh,
I'm gonna take.
you gotta take like Tim or Neil. That's what they're hoping for.
Oh, you gotta
if they
kill
don't
that. Why you gotta kill that?
If they don't get mentioned,
Why you gotta kill that?
well, who are you gonna take?
I was gonna take John Engenberg next.
Hey, take John, and then I'll take Tim.
All right, you screwed me over, dude. I needed Jack and Tim. Jack and Tim make money moves. They make money moves. My final pick, I was gonna go out with a bang and take Tim. Tim, I know you make money moves. You're playing church ball tonight. I hope you continue the undefeated record.
This
then
isn't gonna come out for another week.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Nice.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I would take Neil to finish it out. My team's been wanting
That's
to go
6
out.
players. Oh, you take Neil if I take Tim.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, that's it for Strike Zone. That was a little bit of fun at the end.
That was a little bit of fun there at the end. Yeah, this is the strike zone. We had a little controversy. We had a little fun. We're here in the strike zone, and we are heading out. Shout out to Randy Johnson. We love you. K Zone. We are out. See ya.